Oh, wow. I am so done. So very, very done. Oh. Hey. I'm done. It has been a long day. I'm done. Hello. Hello, caterpillar.
Usually
How are you
the
today?
Fuzzy,
yeah, the woolly bears, the black and orange ones.
breast,
Yeah, but this guy's different. Wonder what kind he is.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably some kind of moth.
Could be.
And he's moving along nicely. He's making great progress.
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah. He's a racing caterpillar.
Sure, it's a good thing you saw him. I don't want to step on
Oh yeah, definitely. Anyways, you take care, be well, stay safe, caterpillar.
Right.
Bye-bye. I made an interesting discovery today. Apparently, as we grow up, our ability to see certain hues of color is diminished. So the world appears less vibrant to us as adults than it did when we were kids. Yeah. So it's not that the world has become more dull and gray and dreary since we were kids. It's that we have lost the ability to perceive the brightness and beauty of the colors. Yeah. The downside of growing up is the loss of the ability to perceive the true beauty of the world around us. So we have the memories of when we were kids and we could see all these bright, vibrant colors. And now we're adults and we don't quite see those colors as brightly as we used to. It's a thing. And it kind of sucks. Yeah. It's not that the world has become worse. It's because we've lost the ability to perceive everything that we used to perceive. We can no longer see all the colors, all the brightness, all the vibrancy. It's a survival adaptation. It's a trade-off. We have better night vision than we did when we were kids, but at the cost of not being able to perceive the brightness of the colors. Yeah. Now, admittedly, this is not really a useful survival adaptation anymore because we are no longer nocturnal hunters, but yeah, it's just something to think about. Maybe the world is not a shitty place. Maybe the world is a beautiful place and you just can't see it. Maybe you just need to think about that. That the world is not a shitty place. You just can't see the true beauty anymore. Yeah. You can't see the true beauty, but it's still there. Yeah. Yeah. Just, again, something to think about. Yeah. Anywho. Good morning. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Ah, no. So, last week, thousands of people were killed, one of whom was an American right-wing pundit named Charlie Kirk, who unfortunately was gunned down at one of his debates, in which he basically bullies college students and flips the script on them once they become angry enough to not notice. Yeah. He was killed in front of his wife and children. This is a tragedy. This is a very terrible tragedy. And no, I don't agree with the shooting of Charlie Kirk. I don't think that it was a good thing. But Charlie Kirk thought it was a good thing. Charlie Kirk was very, very, very blatant that a few deaths a year are an acceptable price to pay. And then he became one of those deaths. Yeah. I wonder if he actually thought about the irony in his final moments. I wonder if he thought about that. Probably not. He wasn't that smart. I feel sad for his children. I even feel a little bit sad for his wife, although she knew what she was getting into. She married a man who had already declared that there's no such thing as the clitoris. There's no such thing as the female orgasm, and that women exist solely to be bred by men and to wait on men and to serve men. And Charlie Kirk said this, and this woman married him after learning his absolutely horrific views on women. So yeah, I can feel a little bit sorry for her, but not very much. Mostly I feel sorry for his children, who will, unfortunately, also feel the consequences of their father's horrific behavior, his appalling behavior and antics as a right-wing mouthpiece. Yeah. They did not choose this. It is not their fault. I would have much preferred for Charlie Kirk to live, to have never been shot at, and to have had the opportunity to learn, about the validity of women as people. To say nothing of learning about the validity of other whole populations, peoples, cultures, and civilizations as people, which is, another famous Charlie Kirk position, that only white people are people. Charlie was quite adamant about this, that only white people are people. Now, I know some of you are looking at me and saying, but aren't you white? And the answer to that is no, I am not. I am Métis. I am Métis. Go look it up and learn something. But yeah, as a man, I do know, and I don't have to explain how, but I do know that both the clitoris and the female orgasm are in fact real. They are real. And no, I am not going to explain how I know this, because, again, you're adults, you should be able to figure this out for yourselves. Yeah. Of course, next to the tragedy of the murder of a man, no matter how horrible, in front of his wife and children, is the runner-up tragedy of the hagiography now taking place around him. He is being canonized as a martyred saint of the far right. And he is being presented as the excuse that the far right needs to justify going to extreme violence. The far right is presenting his death as an excuse for them to attack all liberals, all socialists, all progressives, all intellectuals, all gays, bi, lesbian, trans people, all university academics, all Arabs, all moderate Christians, all Jews, all environmentalists, everybody who is actually not a batshit crazy right-wing bigot. His death, which, by the way, was the inevitable consequence of right-wing bigotry, is being held up by right-wing bigots as justification for that bigotry. And that is the second biggest tragedy after his own tragic murder in front of his wife and children. And whoever shot him, I have to say this. You, sir, are a fucking asshole. Not only are you politically stupid, but you are a fucking asshole. And I don't care what your opinion was of his position. The fact of the matter is that you, sir, are a fucking asshole. Whoever it is that shot him, you, sir, are a fucking asshole. In front of his wife, in front of his kids. Come on. Now, of course, there are two most likely probabilities. One, the assassin was a groyper. One of those people who is even more far right, and, well, let's be honest, those people considered Charlie to be not right-wing enough. They considered his rhetoric to be not inflammatory enough, not bigoted enough. It was bigoted, it was inflammatory, but it wasn't bigoted and inflammatory enough to suit them. That seems to be who the shooter was. There's another claim that it was a Mossad hit. Unlikely, very unlikely. And then there is the claim that it was Donald Trump sacrificing one of his buddies in order to get the media off the topic of the Epstein files. I don't think Trump is that smart. He's that ruthless, but he's not that smart. No, I think it was a groyper. I do believe it was a groyper. I also believe, however, that Fox News is going to keep claiming that it was the left until they get the violence that they want. Yeah. A few other things about Charlie. Aside from his insistence that there's no such thing as the female orgasm, a claim that I refute right here and now. Yeah. He's also claimed that natives, that is Indians, are not real people, that we are not human, that we are just wild animals and wild savages. That's also refuted. But his claim that more guns in the hands of more mentally unstable people would stop school shootings. That was pretty bad. His dichotomous position on Judaism, where his Jewish neighbor was a, quote, dirty kike, but if that Jewish neighbor went to Palestine and murdered Palestinians, that made him a good Jew, an Israeli. The polar opposite of my position, which is my Jewish neighbor is my neighbor, right up until he goes to Palestine and starts murdering Palestinians, at which point he becomes a Zionist, which is basically a Nazi with a six-pointed swastika. Yeah. The polar opposite positions. He freely associated with people who do straight-arm salutes and scream Heil Hitler. Yeah. He was essentially a Goebbels figure for the Trump regime. He was a terrible person. And yet, like Joseph Goebbels, he was kind to his own children. He may have even been kind to animals, but he was definitely kind to his own children. I do feel sad that he was killed. It is a tragedy. It is a misfortune. And it is a tragedy and misfortune that is going to have dire consequences for a whole lot of people who had nothing to do with it. It will, I fear, be used to justify even more hateful and more bigoted behavior from the Trump regime and from the rest of the American far right, rather than being taken as an opportunity to seriously reconsider America's utter failure on reasonable gun control. And I say this as a firearms owner who's being swarmed by wasps now. I say as a firearms owner, sensible gun control laws could have prevented every single school shooting that Charlie Kirk cheered for and gloated over. And yes, the fact that he gloated over the deaths of children massacred in schools, if nothing else, this alone makes him a horrible person. And I don't want anybody asking, what if it was his own kids? Please don't ask that question, because that's just cruelty. It's just unnecessarily cruel at this point. But yes, sane, reasonable gun control regulations that keep firearms out of the hands of mentally unstable people could have prevented most of the school shootings that Charlie gloated over. And they certainly could have prevented a lot of the other murders that, again, Charlie gloated over. Now, you'll notice that I'm not calling for the abolition of firearms. No. I said sane and rational, not over the top and absurd. Yeah. Charlie Kirk also opposed the public health care that could have provided treatment for those mentally unstable people who went on those shooting rampages. Public health care is a public good that Charlie Kirk vehemently and violently opposed, along with public transit, public education, and universal voter suffrage. He opposed all of that. He wanted to make it harder for certain people to vote, in particular, so-called black people. He didn't want them voting. He did not want them voting. He did not want poor people voting, even though it was poor people who overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Why do poor people vote against their own interests? Yeah. In any case, yeah. Charlie Kirk is dead. And no, nobody is celebrating. Or rather, the only people who are actually celebrating are the extreme right-wingers who finally have their excuse for the bloodbath that they want to invoke. They're cheering. And they're saying that I'm cheering while they cheer. Charlie Kirk was a terrible person. And much like Joseph Goebbels, he was a propagandist for some of the worst right-wing ideological nonsense imaginable. That said, he was murdered, and he was murdered in front of his family. And even if you can justify murdering him, which you can't, to murder him in front of his own family is, again, an asshole move. And whoever you are out there that pulled that trigger, you, sir, are an asshole. You are an asshole. I wish Charlie Kirk's children comfort in their time of grief. I wish them good luck. And I wish them a better future than the one that their father would have consigned them to. As to his widow, well, I understand that Steven Crowder's divorce has gone through. You're used to men who can't satisfy anything except your financial needs. Go for it. Yeah. Yeah. But yes, I do feel sad for the children. Because for them, this is not over. They will be used as props in right-wing theater. And they will be targeted. By people outraged about the consequences of that right-wing theater. And they don't deserve either of these things. They deserve to be left alone in their grief. And that won't happen because in Trump's America, tragic death is an opportunity. not to be respected, but to be exploited. I hope the children have better luck in life now. And I will publicly ask everybody to please remember that these are children. Children. Just like the children massacred at every school massacre that Charlie Kirk himself gloated about. They're children. And I will ask everybody to leave them out of your politics, leave them out of your propagandizing, leave them out of everything you are doing, and just let them grieve in peace. Let them grieve in peace. That's all I can say.